All over the city, the news is covered with reports of heavy rain that has been falling in Valencia. The rain is causing major issues on the highways, resulting in traffic jams and disrupting the flow of hundreds of vehicles. Therefore, it's recommended that drivers and pedestrians avoid traveling if possible. We are then introduced to Sandra, who is a bank manager. Despite the awful weather, she's heading to her job. She appears to be under a lot of stress and asks the driver to stop beeping so she can talk on the phone. She asks someone whether her name is on the list of employees being fired. Sandra arrives at the bank and finds out that the workers who had been working on the bank's security are running behind schedule as a result of the rain. Frustrated by this, she informs the staff that the security work must be finished as soon as possible. A few customers arrive shortly after they open the bank to the public. Ignoring her job duties, Sandra continues to inquire about the list of those who will be fired soon. Eventually, the person on the other end confirms that she is indeed on the list of dismissals. Just then, a van pulls up and a gang of armed, masked men get out and enter the bank. The bank security guard confronts them, but one of the robbers shows the explosives and threatens to blow them all up if he tries to shoot them. The robbers quickly enter the bank and shut the doors to the public. Gallego, one of the robbers, enters the director's office, while Sandra whines about her contribution to the bank and how she's unfairly being fired now. Trying to make a move, one of the staff presses the alarm button to notify the police. However, he's noticed by a robber named Uruguayo, who is the leader of the gang. He forcefully makes the bank customers applaud that staff member as Employee of the Month. Then he hits the employee with the pistol while warning everyone that because of him, things are about to get problematic because the cops are now on the way. In this gripping heist thriller, a group of 6 armed men are trapped in the bank as they are attempting to rob it. But in a twist of events, their escape route is flooded by the heavy rain falling over the city. The gang takes the hostages and squares off with an army of police. But when the government assumes control of the negotiations, it becomes clear that the real treasure in the vault isn't money, it's secrets. Now back to the video. A worried customer says that she needs to go pick up her son. Uruguayo informs them that they have 1 minute to make any calls they want before their phones are taken. On the other hand, one of the robbers named Loco deactivates all the cameras and they handcuff Sandra as well. The police are now in front of the bank, ringing sirens to alert the robbers. They establish a command center at the Valencia bank, from which Inspector Jose Luis Domingo telephones the bank. On the phone, Uruguayo claims that he will blow up the bank with all the hostages instead of going back to jail. Then he asks the police for a minibus to transport them to the airport, where they must board a jet that can fly across the Atlantic without refueling. In his response, Domingo says that he can't take such a decision alone and needs to talk with his superiors. Sandra goes to the archive with Gallego and another robber, where a remote sensor helps them in finding the metal. They cut the carpet under it and blow up the large area using a flamethrower. Gallego exits the archive through the gaping hole and falls into a tunnel that has been flooded by the rain. Since the tunnel is currently flooded, the original plan to escape through it will be useless. Gallego notifies Uruguayo of the problem that has risen as a result of the rain. He becomes frustrated as the unexpected rain is about to ruin their heist plan that they have planned for 2 months. But Uruguayo mentions that today is the only day when the security alarms are not activated. While they talk, Sandra is listening attentively to all their conversations and informs Gallego that their idea was a good one. But with the rain, it's now worthless. She explains that since they don't have much time, they can work out a deal so that they both can leave with something valuable. Sandra plays a video for Gallego in which Gonzalo Soriano, a politician suspected of making several recordings that caused a significant national scandal, is seen. According to her, Locker 314 contains the proof related to the scandal. After that, as part of the agreement, Gallego offers her a little bag of diamonds. In the presidency cabinet, 4 members are discussing Soriano and the box that has been deposited in Valencia Bank. Despite their hopes that the robbers will ignore the box, a group member named Ferran states that they can't take any chances, so they must get the robbers out before they can access the box. To give the impression that they will be there for a while, Uruguayo asks Inspector Domingo to send them food and drinks. They load 3 hostages with explosives and then use 3 of their hostages to pose as robbers, giving them empty weapons. The hostages are then advised not to move because doing so could cause the explosives to activate. The robbers gather all the valuables they can, and now they're ready to escape. Gallego goes back to get Soriano's box and finds Uruguayo opening it. He confronts Uruguayo, accusing him of having misled them all over the true purpose of the heist. When Uruguayo wonders about how he knows this, Gallego responds that Sandra told him about the box. After some heated arguments, they prepare to leave through the tunnel. As soon as they get inside the tunnel, they realize that the water pressure makes it impossible for them to pass through. On the other hand, since no one is picking up the phone when Inspector Domingo calls the bank, they assume the robber may have already gone. Without regard for the hostages, Ferran commands the cops to enter the bank immediately. However, the robbers decide to return to the bank, not realizing that they are surrounded by police who are waiting to shoot them. Uruguayo hurries over to the phone and picks it up. Domingo informs them that the food has been brought as requested, which is in fact a trap to shoot the robbers. However, as the police are ready to shoot them, another politician gives the order to stop the action. Therefore, nothing happens when Loco goes out to get the food. The politician then informs other party members that one of the robbers is a former Cien agent who knows about Soriano's box. When the other party members hear this, they become angry that he tried to obtain the box secretly so that he may use it against them in the future. After some tense exchanges, they conclude that their attention should be directed towards obtaining the box secretly without letting the police know. In the bank, Gallego informs the others that Uruguayo has kept the contents of the box secret from the rest of them. In his reply, Uruguayo admits that while he was aware of the box, he didn't know that it belonged to Soriano until he saw his name on the computer. He further says that someone paid him well to retrieve the box and nothing has changed since it's still a robbery. Then he questions Gallego about what he gave Sandra in return for the information about the box. Since Gallego doesn't reveal anything, they go find Sandra in the restroom. When Uruguayo angrily demands that Sandra return the things that Gallego gave to her, he discovers that she has already swallowed the diamonds. While the rest are arguing, Loco inserts Soriano's hard drive into the computer, but all he manages to do is accidentally destroy all the data. On the other side, the political party appoints Colonel Maeso to handle the heist situation. Maeso phones the bank and suggests a face-to-face meeting with Uruguayo outside the building. He promises the robber that he will get them out of that situation in exchange for following his instructions. To keep it a secret, Maeso switches the police officers with his soldiers. Next, Loco explains to Uruguayo that the hard disk had a Trojan on it that wiped out all the data. This frustrates Uruguayo as it leaves them all in a hopeless situation. When the soldiers demand that he hand over the disc, Uruguayo tries to negotiate the situation as he has nothing to offer. Things get heated on Gallego's side as he hits the civil guard when he finds that once they obtain the disc, they will kill them there. The shooting continues for a while and Sandra gets shot in the hand, while the robbers go inside the bank again. Maeso tells Uruguayo that Sandra is safe as the bullet passed straight through her arm. He further mentions that their only option now is to surrender themselves. However, Uruguayo refuses to surrender, warning that if they don't have the bus in 30 minutes, he will kill one hostage and then another every 15 minutes. Since Inspector Domingo is hearing the conversation, Maeso assures him that they won't kill anyone because they are professionals and won't complicate a robbery with blood crimes. Uruguayo calls Maeso and says that if a representative of the government does not arrive in 2 hours, they will tell the hostages what is on the recording disc regarding Soriano. Upon hearing Soriano's name, Domingo goes outside to phone his superiors and informs them that the CNI is in charge of the operation and that Soriano is somehow involved. Later, Ferran meets Uruguayo and Gallego and offers them a deal, telling them that their only option is to surrender. Gallego claims that in addition to conversations, there are videos in which his boss appears. When Ferran asks them to show the tapes to him, they refuse, stating that if the bus doesn't arrive in 30 minutes, the hostages will see the videos. Ferran assures Maeso that the robbers have nothing, or at least nothing like what they claim to have, and they must get them out of there. However, Maeso says that the government has agreed with the demands of the robbers and made agreements for their departure from the country. He tells Ferran that the robbers will not go without insurance and asks him to stay out of the way and return to Madrid. Meanwhile, Gallego asks Uruguayo what he would do if he were the colonel. He asks whether he would let them escape alive, knowing that they might have copies of the videos which can be used as blackmail, implying that they cannot make it out alive. The truth is that Maeso intends to blow up the bus as soon as the robbers arrive. He calls the bank again to tell them to hurry up because the bus is waiting for them, but Uruguayo requests another 10 minutes. Next, Ferran gets a report that there isn't any video as he's returning to Madrid. He goes back to inform Maeso and advises him not to blow up the bus because there aren't any videos. However, Maeso takes him to a corner and yells at him to stay away from the matter. Meanwhile, we see Inspector Domingo informing someone about the video and arguments. Finally, after 10 minutes, a few people begin to come out of the bank. It turns out that everyone who showed up was a hostage, and the explosives they are carrying in their vests are fake. Also, the robbers reverted to their original plan and fled through the tunnel after noticing that the rain had stopped, and after diving for a while, they successfully make it to the end. While going through the bank, Ferran receives the news about the robbery, in which they indicate that they were looking for the videos of Soriano implicating the presidency. It turns out that Inspector Domingo has leaked the information to the press about Soriano's hard disk and the involvement of the governing party. When the cops arrive at the end of the tunnel with the boat, the robbers have already changed and are in the subway. The movie ends with Uruguayo and Gallego smiling warmly and going their separate ways. The end. Hope you enjoyed the video. What was your favorite part? Do comment down below. Also, make sure to hit the like button as it helps the channel tremendously. And if you haven't done it already, consider subscribing. And if you want to continue with more recaps like this, check out this video now.